Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us on Business Incorporated, coming to you live from our Lagos studio. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwago. On the show today, African Development Bank outlines plans to see more listings of medium and small enterprises on the continent's stock exchanges. China willing to invest $3 billion in Nigerian oil operations. Plus, South Africa launches notes and coins for 100th anniversary of Mandela's birth. Let's get the show started now. Of course, starting off with the markets. The week started rather on a bearish note for most markets on the African continent. Amongst the markets we track here on the show, none looked good at intraday as all the indices tilted downwards. Here in Nigeria, the NSE index was down 0.39%. In South Africa, the JSE index was down 0.93%, and Egypt was also down 0.92%. The market in Kenya closed red on Friday. In the meantime, in the Middle East, the story is different as the indicators looked all green at intraday. Abu Dhabi led the pack up by 1.08%. Qatar followed with 1.06% gain. Dubai was up 0.67% and Saudi was up 0.47%. And in Europe, shares traded slightly above the flat line in early trade as investors focused on earnings and monitored an upcoming meeting between the United States and Russia. Let's get a sense of how the market is kick-starting the new week after last week's sporting activities. Ulrich Bartz, my colleague in Frankfurt, joins me now. Hello, Ulrich. Good afternoon. I hope you had a beautiful weekend. Well, Ulrich is not yet ready to talk to us, and we'll get through to him as soon as he comes by. We move on now to the U.S. stock index futures climbed ahead of Monday's open as investors monitored new corporate earnings and a summit between Presidents Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Around 5:20 a.m. Eastern Time, Dow futures rose 44 points, indicating a positive open of 46.59 points. The Nasdaq and the S&P 500 futures indicated an upbeat start to their respective trading sessions. Earnings season is back on Monday. We'll see corporate results from the likes of Bank of America, BlackRock, J.B. Hunt Transport, and Netflix. On the economic front, retail sales are due out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, along with the Empire State Manufacturing Survey. Business inventories will then be released at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. While no speeches by the U.S. Central Bank are set to take place, investors will be gearing up for a testimony on Tuesday, which will see Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking in front of the House Financial Services Committee and the Senate Banking Committee about the state of the economy. In Asia, stocks closed lower today as investors digested the release of a barrage of China economic data, shrugging off the gains seen stateside in the previous session. The Shanghai Composite declined 0.61% to close at 2,813.92 as investors digested the economic data, including China's second quarter GDP growth of 6.7%, which met expectations. Meanwhile, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index shed 0.17%. South Korean stocks closed lower, with the Kospi slipping 0.39% to 2,301.99. In Australia, the S&P ASX 200 edged down by 0.43% to 6,241.50, with healthcare among the worst performing sectors. Meanwhile, markets in Japan were closed for a holiday on Monday. Well, let's get back here on the African continent, starting off in South Africa, where Anglo-American Platinum has flagged a more than 350% increase in half-year profit, boosted by improved operational performance and a more favorable rand basket price for the metal. Amplan says it expects headline earnings per share to come in between 1,249 cents and 1,302 cents per share for the 6 months ended June 30, compared with 285 cents per share a year earlier. HEPS is the main profit measure used in South Africa that strips out certain one-off items. Still in South Africa, the Reserve Bank has launched a commemorative series of banknotes and a R5 circulation coin to honor the birth centenary of former President Nelson Mandela. Zimbabwean-born illustrator Sindiso Nyoni is the man behind the design of the limited edition coin and a historic collaboration.
The new note captured Mandela's historical journey, from his upbringing in rural Eastern Cape as the son of a chief to his activism in Soweto against the continent's last racist regime, through to his 27-year incarceration on Robben Island and the period of democracy thereafter.
What could be more fitting than to commemorate his life through an instrument that we all use every day? Money touches all of us, young and old. Utata represents the best version of ourselves as South Africans, and there is no more appropriate an occasion than his birthday centenary to honor all that he represents with these commemorative banknotes and the R5 circulation coin.
The coin was designed by Zimbabwe-born Sindiso Nyoni, whose works include stinging rebukes of recently deposed Robert Mugabe. He hopes the design will inspire the same feeling of hope in Zimbabwe that flooded South Africa on Mandela's release in 1990.
We were not fortunate enough to experience the sort of democracy that South Africa has currently been experiencing for the past 24 years. So I'm hoping that almost like that euphoria that was captured when Mandela got released and was first elected president, I'm hoping that will pour over into Zimbabwe that has known a dictatorship for pretty much more than 35 years.
The 34-year-old left Harare in the early 2000s at the height of political violence. He lives in Johannesburg. He used a graphic novel-style etching on the 1-ounce pure gold R5 coin of a smiling middle-aged Mandela with his hair parted down the middle.
For me, it's more like it's a legacy type of thing, in the sense that it's something that's going to be around for quite some time. And I think as an artist or graphic designer, we always sought out, or I particularly always sought out, to be able to have a place in history.
The United Nations designated July 18 as Nelson Mandela International Day in 2009. The tribute notes and coins form part of month-long events across the world, culminating locally in a lecture by former United States President Barack Obama this week.